Dragon Ball, horror, kaiju, and more. Steven's Toy Reviews.
Hey there, collectors, it's going to be Steven here, and welcome to another video game figure review, horror review. Well, guess what? It's going to be survival horror, because today we're going to be taking a look at the Patriot Studios BOW Evolver. We're going to be taking a look at the LICKER figure review, which we got to count down here. 3, 2, 1. All right, YouTube policy, we're following it. It's pretty fucking cool. Why? Because now third-party companies are doing what some major companies won't, and they are tackling legitimate IPs, and they are delivering Resident Evil action figures. We have a few of Leon coming up. I believe they're going to be tackling a Resident Evil 4 design of Leon. I believe the OG. There's a Resident Evil 2 Leon that is either in the works or is already out. I'm not too familiar with a third-party scene. They did a Zombie Cop release. Yeah, we have the LICKER now. I got two of them things, so I think I'm pretty well-versed in this particular release. Now, this isn't going to be directly on the nose for the remake of 2 and 3 for the LICKER, but nevertheless, I think it's going to be pretty good, and fans of Resident Evil are going to be happy. So enough of the chit-chat, let's take a look to see whether or not the LICKER, or not LICKER, is going to be worth adding into your collection. Alright, so I kind of touched on a big point here. We're not really going to be talking so much about accuracy because, you know, if they were to go one-on-one to the source material, Capcom would definitely have the grounds to, you know, kind of do a pee-pee smack there and tell them to stop. So they have to take some creative liberties. Where that's going to be, can't really say, because, you know, one person may say this is accurate, another person will say absolutely not, despite the fact that we're able to 3D scan this thing and compare it directly to the model that's in-game. So I'm not going to go ahead and talk about the accuracy there, except for maybe where we get to comparisons with the accessories. But for what we have on screen here, I'm going to go ahead and talk about, you know, quality control and sculpt and paint details and so forth. What you're seeing here for a 360 spin view is going to be, you know, maybe a standard pose for a humanoid action figure. So let's go ahead and put him in a more so traditional LICKER pose. Don't you think that looks a bit better? I think so too. Just figured I'd go ahead and give you some different angles. So now when we're taking a closer look at the figure underneath macro photography, we can see that generally speaking, the LICKER looks fine. We have the head of the LICKER, the upper back, the hands, and the feet. That's going to be more so traditional LICKER quality, meaty goodness, because we're going to see some rather glossy paint application, really true, meaty, sculpted texture quality there. But when it comes to the main body, unfortunately, that's where we see a little bit of a degradation in terms of the detailing. We see more so of a printed detail to the LICKER instead of more finely sculpted paint mixture. In here, you get what I'm trying to say. There was a main focus on the head, the hands, the feet, than there was on the main body, which, admittedly, that's pretty much where you're going to be looking at a LICKER, right? I mean, you're going to be looking at the hand swiping at you, the head with the opening mouth that's going to be sticking its tongue out at you. But at the same time, you will notice the flaking paint on the kneecap. You will notice that the chest, what is that supposed to have? Sinewy bits that are supposed to be, you know, all mangled and such. It's just kind of a painted on decal. Yeah, so unfortunately, the LICKER will win in some areas, but lose at others. And then we're going to talk about a few things in the articulation section. And also, is that a cloaca? Yeah, so the LICKER does look good in some areas, but loses in others. The LICKER. How well does it move? Well, actually, pretty well for a third-party action figure, wherein, you know, maybe the people who engineered it didn't really do all that great of a job. And, you know, kind of at first glance, maybe doesn't look like it's well articulated, but we do have a couple of things that will make you want to come back for more. First and foremost, we do have the jaw, which, as you can see here, we got a few tricks here. So we are going to have the jaw that opens and closes on a hinge. If there are going to be any tongue parts for the LICKER, whether it's going to be the small little like chode part or the long extended part, which we'll take a closer look at the accessory section at those, we cannot close the jaw fully, but when you have nothing in there, then the jaw can fully close. So for the head, it is going to be on a hinge swivel system, so we can hinge up and down, get LICKER into a whole bunch of neat poses, and then just based off of that, it can sort of swivel around. So the big exposed brain, that's going to have a little bit of a lip, and that is going to block the movement a little bit, but nevertheless, we are going to have the actual neck joint where it plugs into the body be on a ball joint as well, and that's going to contribute to the heavy lifting for twisting and turning side to side more so. I do have another one And that articulation is a little bit better, so your mileage may vary. I want to go over to the back. What are these called? The shoulders. Not clavicles. Clavicles are over here. These are on swivels, and they do spin completely around, so we can get a full rotation out of both of them. Okay? All right, shoulders. They are basically straightforward. They are pegs into the arms at the body. They can spin all the way around. 360 spin swivels, and the LICKER does have hinges for the shoulders, so we can get a T-pose. Okay? Dedicated bicep swivel, which is kind of tight on both arms, on both of the LICKERs that I have. Yeah. Realistically speaking, do I need to use this? Not really. Why? Well, let's get this arm back down. Single hinge elbow, which is kind of a travesty. We'll talk about more in a second. And that plugs in on a peg, so we already have a swivel down here at the elbow. For the wrist, we're kind of familiar with this style of joint, so we're going to have a peg into the forearm. So we get a swivel, we get a hinge, which can then be moved in any direction, and then the hands plug in on a peg as well. We'll see that because you do need to use heat to safely swap out the hands in a second. Ab crunch, ball joint, plenty of movement, looks real loose. It is not. I mean, if you do this, yeah, it's loose, but the LICKER can hold a pose with no real problems. Let me just fix that and get it look good. Good. Okay. That'll work. Okay. So for the hips, we do have hinges, and the LICKER can do the splits like that, forward and back like that, no problem. As you can kind of see, it's a little unsightly here because the joint's just a solid like cherry color compared to the meatiness of the legs. We do have dedicated thigh swivels, so it's kind of unsightly, but it is what it is. The hips are kind of loose, especially when you're doing stuff like this. You can see the LICKER move back. Okay, so this is going to be future Steven here. Turns out that the hip joints are actually going to be ball joints. Huh? There are balls in there. Giggity. And but they only function on hinges, which would explain the reason why they are loose, or at least they look like they're ball joints, like there are balls in there. Anyway, kick it to past Steven to kind of talk about the articulation a bit more. Woo, 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 woo. Now, the reason why that we have single hinge elbows, which are a travesty, we have double hinge pinless knees, which is great. And then for the ankles, I mean, whoa, loose. Good on them for like really getting a LICKER made that can strike all the poses, but it's kind of dumb because we do have a pin that goes into the bottom of the leg. So that gives us a swivel. Check. Hinge. Check. Pin then goes directly into the foot. You're probably like, well, why is that an issue? No. Pin goes in, down, down, not at an angle, goes down. Do you see the problem there? We have a character that's meant to be crawling around and pouncing and being put into creepy poses. You can circumvent this by twisting and then twisting, which is easier to do by just popping the joint off. By just popping the joint off and moving it, right? And then you pop it on, or pop it back in, and then you get ankle rocker movement, but then you don't get forward and back movement. So the LICKER, good movement overall. I do think that this figure is really well articulated, but things that make you go, with this figure.
that's about all.
All right, accessories time. And the liquor is pretty short, sweet, and to the point, but I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know what else the liquor could come with. By default, the liquor comes with sort of splayed out hands, and then for accessories, we do get some curled up hands. And then we're going to get a shorter tongue, almost like the liquor's getting ready to shoot it out, and then we're going to get a longer tongue. Now, for the different tongue pieces, they are going to just insert in the hole in the mouth. However, they are rather difficult to get in there and to stay in there. So you may have to heat up the hole in the mouth. However, that'll just cause loosey-goosiness, so that's just something to keep in mind. It kind of makes the head go a little bobbly-wobbly, and because the teeth are actually sharp, just be careful. Now, for the tongue, the stinger, whatever you would prefer to call it, because, tomato, tomato for everyone, it is rather thin compared to the source material. But then again, they have to take a few creative liberties, so I'm not really faulting anyone here, just pointing that out. Now, with that being said, the price is going to be about $53 at retail. That's going to be MSRP or so. At least that's going to be the most affordable and reasonable place that, is going to have this. So with that being said, could they have included more? I think they could have included a support stand at minimum. Why? Liquor's crawling around on the ceiling, jumping through the air or so. Yeah, it would have been cool to see some sort of unique support stand. But if you do need effect parts, support stands, or so forth, you know that I got videos to help you out. And now a size comparison, just, at liquor at its tallest point. How big is a liquor compared to, other action figures? I mean, it's really a non-scale type figure. So yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll let you to decide. But quite frankly, I think the liquor is good enough in terms of how big it is. So buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. We're kind of at a crossroads with this one, I think, in terms of price. At about $52.99, $53, I do think that overall the quality isn't too bad. But at the exact same time, I can think, okay, I have this SH Figuarts over here, which it is going to be by Tamashii Nations. And, some of them can be obtained reasonably well at about the same price tag. And it's a lot better. But then at the same time, okay, this is a smaller company. But then I think $53, I look at some of the stuff that NECA is making for about the same price tag, admittedly, worse quality control, and it's more affordable. So where does the liquor stand? I think that the liquor crouches at being a good figure. It's just overpriced. But at the same time, who knows if there will be another production run if this sells out. If you're a fan of the liquor, if you're a fan of Resident Evil, if you can stop playing the remake today, then this is definitely going to be worth a purchase. Just don't go in expecting that this is going to be worth every single penny. Hey collectors, that's going to wrap up the video today. And as always, thanks for watching, commenting, sharing, subbing. It all helps. I always enjoy responding to comments, so be sure to drop one down below and I will respond if I can. I do have supporters on Patreon as well, and each review gets an end card to show who is supporting each month, so here are the end cards. Camera batteries, SD cards, even hard drives. It's not possible without that support, so thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Here's the final end card, so this way you can click subscribe, check out another video, or even check out the social media outlets. You want to. Before we end today, as in the description, there may be paid ad space, affiliate links, or product samples that were sent out in this video, so please check out the STR ad disclosure. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.